As I found myself flying to Japan over the vast emptiness of the Siberian landscape, every few hours, isolated pockets of civilization would capture my attention. I couldn't help but ponder about how people tackled their daily routine in these remote outposts, what the world must have felt like when living hundreds of miles away from the nearest human settlement. Once the plane began its descent, and the rice fields surrounding Nagoya became clearly distinguishable, I wondered one last time if the world was truly as impenetrable as it seemed to be above the clouds. My journey began here, in Ise, Mie Prefecture, in April 2019, at the end of the Hanami season, or cherry blossom viewing. Day by day, as an exchange student at Kogakan University, I walked from my temporary accommodation to study alongside my local peers. During my first few days, the campus provided a safe refuge for me to get accustomed to the new environment. However, I would soon grow to love the distinctive nature of this daily sight. As I explored my surroundings, I couldn't help but notice how here, old and new coexisted in a peculiar mutual relationship. Despite being oppressed by concrete structures, traditional architecture sprouted from every corner of the city. I would soon learn that some of the complexes I noticed were, in fact, Shinto shrines, and that Ise is home to 125 of these religious sites. This would lead me to discover the importance of tradition in Ise. In Japanese, the word kami refers to deities or divine beings. It is thought that roughly 2,000 years ago, the daughter of the 11th Emperor, Princess Yamato, was sent on a journey to find a new place to house the most important kami in the Shinto tradition, Amaterasu Omikami. Legend narrates that Princess Yamato eventually arrived in Ise, where she chose the spot to enshrine Amaterasu. Scholars, however, believe that the kami's enshrinement is more likely to have occurred between the 3rd and 4th century. Shrines became a place for me to marvel at and admire. Around shrines, a tension between old and new is palpable, and learning about Sengu, a 1,300-year-old tradition that continues to this day, sheds some light on Japan's approach to its past. Sengu is practiced at 20-year intervals. When the kami are moved from one resting place to the next, the shrine previously housing them is destroyed, and the kami moved to a new location, built only a few feet away from the original structure. The new shrine is modelled after the previous one and rebuilt using the same materials and techniques. As it was explained to me, destruction assures the passing and continuation of the tradition to future generations. The Ise Inner Shrine, also known as Naiku, where Amaterasu and other kami rest, still maintains its sacred importance today. In fact, the day of my visit to the shrine, I would bear witness to a uniquely historic event. Emperor Akihito would arrive to begin the process of abdication in favour of his son, Naruhito, indicating the approaching end of the Heisei era and the beginning of the new Reiwa. For one last time, Akihito entered Naiku in the guise of emperor to announce his intentions to the ancestral deities residing within. Communication in language, be it spoken, read, or in film form, nurture the basis for human connection and understanding. From these instants of interaction, relationships are also born. In other words, friendships.
I used to play this game when I was a child with my father. This is a famous game in Japan. Traditional.
Does it work like chess? Or
Yes. Looks like chess. I know the chess rules, but it is almost same, I think. Shogi and chess are almost same rules.
Looks interesting.
Chess is
It's chess?
chess. ちっちゃい頃さ、お父さんの役割だから、ドミノしたドミノNo Bigger one Right Small Big
With each passing day, Issa started to feel more like home, and that I could have easily kept living here for much longer. Unfortunately, this was not possible, and time unexpectedly caught up with me. An interesting word exists in Welsh which describes the feeling of intense nostalgia or homesickness. It is pronounced hiraeth. It wasn't my home in the UK I was longing for, nor that of my family in Italy. Although I was absorbed by Osaka's vibrancy, and for an instant it truly felt like living in a certain neo-noir film, I missed Issa and the human relationships I had established there. From a citizen of a rural Japanese city, I reverted back to being one of the many anonymous tourists visiting the country. At that very moment, the city felt as alien to me as the distant Siberian plains, and Issa, only a few hours away by train, as far away as England. Luckily, I found comfort in meeting with a local friend, and the city's disorientating lights suddenly began to make more sense. I couldn't properly grow to appreciate Osaka as I did Issa, and this will hopefully be an experience left to a not-so-distant future. I decided to move away from Osaka's colourful embrace and seek refuge in a city closer to its ancient roots, Kyoto. Here, I desperately sought to replicate what I had experienced in the Mie prefecture, but still blended with the army of tourists invading the streets. I would thus throw myself into less obvious avenues in the hopes of capturing the same moments of sincerity I thought to have earned. After learning so much, I couldn't accept the feeling of being a tourist. Although I was, thanks to Issa's warm embrace, I didn't feel like one, or, more accurately, I didn't want to be one. The first day of Reiwa, and my last day in Japan. This is the famous Inari Shrine. Here, despite the thousands of visitors, the same peacefulness I discovered in Issa irradiated from the thousands of red torii gates. Whilst getting lost in its intricate paths, I decided to follow the torii gates all the way to the top of the mountain, hoping to uncover answers to unknown questions. With every passing gate, the closer I got to the summit, the more I respected the beauty of my surroundings and reflected on the conclusion to my adventure. I have to confess, this was not my first visit to the shrine. In fact, I firstly stumbled upon it quite by accident. But I was so stunned by its beauty that I had to come back to see it one last time. Meditating with every additional step, I realised that, although my time in the country was brief, the experience marked me for the rest of my life. What truly made this possible, however, was not the stunning beauty of the various shrines, nor the hypnotising lights of Osaka. It was the people I met and befriended who truly made this a lifelong, memorable voyage, and because of this, I owe a great debt to them and the people of Issa. I returned home enriched by a newfound appreciation of the cultural richness that the world has to offer, be it in Japan or in some lonely outpost in the middle of Siberia.